Today we're going to continue with a subject that we started for the past 2 weeks, and we're going to develop on it more. So, the past 2 weeks we spoke about something that a lot of people have been wanting to hear about and been wanting to study about, which is what we call, in the wording of the Kabbalah, Sheva Echalot. So in English, the best way of putting it together is the 7 gates of prayer that we all, every single day, must conduct some sort of entry, or if it's not entry, it's bringing down beracha down to our lives. So like we mentioned in the last 2 weeks, the concept of the 7 gates of prayers is not just gates where we throw our prayers through. It's actually where we draw also all the beracha that comes down to this world. So the best way to put it, like we explained in the previous weeks, it's like an entrance to a country. The entrance can also be used as what? As the exit. So the same way you can send things from one country to the other, you can also receive things from one country to the other. So every single gate has a different purpose, has different tchunot, has different perspectives, different characters, that each character is unlocked in a different way, each character is used in a different manner. So that is what we are going through. We start with the first one, being Levenet Safir, and before we start the second one, I would like just to add one more thing, and then we're going to completely close the first one. We start with the first one, we're going to move on, B'ezrat Hashem, gate by gate, level by level. So the past 2 weeks, we've been speaking about the subject of 2 things. First of all, tzniut, modesty, which, like we said, modesty is the key to what? It's the key to the first gate for women, because women come from the nukva, and they need to take from the nukva, they need to repair themselves from nukva to malchut. So for women it's modesty, and for men it is what? Shemirat aberit, protecting of the berit, and the one that keeps the berit in a holy manner. And those are actually the 2 keys where man and woman have the opportunity to open up the gates of the first of prayer and actually bring our tefillot, bring our ratzon, our will, and our wishes to the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to bring them to a fruition, to a reality. So that was the last 2 weeks. Now, this concept of these 2 keys that are attached to the first gate actually have not big effect, but are actually the cause of what we call zivug. And that's something that we did not have time to touch on, neither in last week's class or neither in the week before. But this is actually one of the main things that come down from the first gate. Like we said, every single gate has different things that it sends down to the world. So we mentioned very shortly, the 3rd gate brings down refuah, the 4th gate brings down panasa, and etc., and etc. And we're going to explain it in a detailed manner. So, in the first gate, what does it bring down? We only spoke about what we can send through and how we can send our things through. But what does the first gate actually have to offer? What does it bring down to our world? So actually, Rabotai, the first gate is what's in charge of zivug. You know, Rabotai, a lot of people, and especially on this concept, they come and they say, Rav, I gave up. I'm tired. Here in Los Angeles, they use the Los Angeles, which is a valid excuse, but still. Here in Los Angeles, there's no good people. There's no good men, there's no good women, and like that, each one talks bad about the other. The women talk bad about the men, and the men talk bad about the woman. And they say, no matter what I do, no matter what I search, no matter where I search, I hit a block when it comes up to zivug, ribono shel olam. How hard would it be for me to just get up and to find my zivug? So, but really, what is the zivug? And why is it that you see sometimes people, they hit a block, they hit a wall? So the answer to that, Abatai, is simple. The answer to that, and this is going to shock a few people, that sometimes there could be a situation where a person doesn't have a zivug. That in that very moment in time, he is zivugless. That's a new word that we're going to name. Zivuglis. He has no zivug. What does that mean, he has no zivug? Very simple. We mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, in the first class, that what is the concept of a neshama that comes down to the world? No, what is a neshama that comes down to the world? A neshama that comes down to the world is actually what? is a compilation of two pieces. So like we said, woman's neshama come from nukva. So whoever speaks Hebrew, like I said, nekeva. Men's neshama come from ze'er anpin. So actually, two whole halves to come together and boom, zivug, one whole neshama. So a person could have at some point many different zivugim. Why? You have 7 different zivugim. Why? Because a neshama is not necessarily bound one to the other. Now, what happens in a situation if the aspects that make your neshama male or female are broken or not shaped correctly? It's like you take now a puzzle. Now a puzzle, each one piece is very, very, it's actually a very good analogy. If you have a puzzle, each corner has a different shape. So each corner you could click it to another piece. But what happens if it doesn't fit neither 4 corners? That this aspect, what makes this neshama nukva or ze'er anpin, is deformed. It's broken. There was not a complete tikkun done. Now, we have to also put in mind that reparation is different amongst different people. Meaning, for one person, it could be repairing the roof and repairing the floor and breaking the building and putting. If it was in the valley, everyone would understand this. The construction. For some people, they have to completely rebuild their entire neshama. And some people, one time, a lady dressed bitsnut, or one time a man saw an opportunity to do something not good with his breed and turned around. That one thing was in it. He repaired his half, found his piece. But unless we actually bring our piece of our neshama to a place of being complete, yes, we're hitting a wall when it comes to zivug. Because that person, it could be what? What's the word we just made up for it? Zivuglis. So actually, it's a funny way to put it together. So, the way of actually bringing one zivug is by repairing one's piece. Now, why is it very important that we said that each one has multiple zivugim? Because, of course, people are going to come and say, no, I am perfect. But the problem is, maybe my zivug is not perfect yet. So now I have to wait for him to repair himself. And once he's repaired, I'm ready. I'm waiting for him. No. That's shtuyot. Why is that? Because at any given moment, every given moment, a person has 7 different neshamot that are compatible with his. That the moment that one repairs the neshama and puts it in position, in that very, very second, he can already start the bringing of his zivug. Now, in the Pardes Rimonim, it says something very interesting, but actually, what exists under Ta'ariel. So we mentioned that Laven Tzafir, the main gate watcher, is what's his name? Ta'ariel. Under him, he has 2 angels. And I wrote them down because I'm very bad with these names. Number 1, Saadiel, and the other one is Satriel. So Saadiel and Satriel. Don't repeat it. It's not good to repeat Rabbi Aharon, Baruch Hashem. Those 2 angels are actually the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they are the angels that actually bring 2 halves together. That their job is the moment that one half, meaning one person is ready to get married, they get to work. Where they come down to the world and they start to bring you in this position and this one in this position, and boom, they meet, they click, and they get married. Their job is matchmaking. And that's what actually mentioned, and he brings the concept of Hashem Mizavek Zibugim. That Hashem, what does he do on a day-to-day basis? He's a matchmaker. He puts people together. How can you make people together? If we said that when a person is born, he's born with his mazal, how are you still putting people together? So the concept is simple. The moment a person corrects himself, puts himself in a valid position, in that very second, those 2 angels come down to the world, and they start to get into action to bringing those 2 pieces of the neshamot together. And that abota is actually the little tip of one that finds its zivug. And that abota is something that is very important we need to learn. And that is the concept for men Shemirat Aberit. And Shemirat Aberit also is very attached to the second gate that we're going to learn the lesson today. So first of all, Shemirat Aberit for men. And second of all, what is it? Tzniut, modesty for women. You know, Abutai, what's very chamur, no, chamur. What's very bad, what's critical about the first gate is because, like we mentioned in the first shurim, if there are 7 gates of Kedusha, there are 7 gates of Tum'ah. We're not going to touch them, meaning on a study basis. But I want to mention one thing and then we move on and we never go back to them. And that is the first gate of the impurity. Because we're speaking about the gates of Kedusha, gates of Kedusha, gates of Kedusha. But maybe it's also good that we know what's the trap of Yetzirah to trap us into his first gate. And once we're trapped, we're trapped. So Abatai, just the name of the first gate of the impurity will get you ready to a pure understanding on why it's so important to really stand and be makpid, to be stringent, and to really give our best to keep tzniut and to keep our berit. The name of the first gate, which actually corresponds and is against Levan and Safir, its name is what? Bo. What does bo? What does it mean in Hebrew? Bo. Pit. Hole. That the first gate of the impurity is like a pit. What is a pit? A pit is something unique. That a pit, it could be very deep, but it doesn't need a lot of work to pull you in. It needs to take you one step and a quarter off the ledge, and that's it. Its job is done. That the pit, once you give a little bit to it, it's not satisfied. It doesn't stop there. When you give a little bit to the pit, it pulls you into the depth of that pit. And that is actually, you can see, especially with these two concepts for men and for women, that when a man is in a place of nisayon, of a test, there's a little turning point. A little turning point. If he grabs himself from the beginning of that turning point, he can save himself and he's gone. Game over, he's secure. But if he tips that turning point by a little bit, he loses all control. A man simply becomes drawn and pulled by the pit. And the same thing for a woman. Imagine, there's a lot of women here, Baruch Hashem. What is it like to get up one morning and to take the decision, I want to start getting tzniut? It's a very hard decision. And the same thing, and even worse, for men, because men, it mamash pulls them down. And the Zohar HaKadosh said, at the moment you put your foot, and I'm not even mentioning the names, I'm not getting into the details at all. The moment you put your foot into the pit, it says, like we said, the pit is empty, there's nothing inside of it. It's empty satisfaction. It's satisfaction that has no reason, it's satisfaction that has no reward. Once a person is finished with that satisfaction, it's gone. It's not even burnt. Even burnt, you leave it with ashes. Here he forgot and he moved on, and there it's done. So it's a pit actually that you put your foot a little bit, empty, but what's inside? Snakes and scorpions. At the moment you put your foot a little bit, it's already like this is what the Rabbi Moshe Pinto Shlita says. It's like a snake that starts to pull and starts to grasp its prey. That's what it does to a person when he puts a foot into the first gate of impurity, which is the berit and tzniut. So really, Abotai, it's important for us to think about it and to do our best. You know, Abotai, it said that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to help people that are trying to get themselves through the first gate. So it said actually over the first gate, Levan Tzafir, imagine over there's the gate. On top of it, it said that Kadosh Baruch Hu broke a hole. He made a hole. And it's mentioned many times when HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually made holes in things to accept one thing. To accept teshuvah in Ba'alei teshuvah. It said with one of the kings was a king that he was the king Menashe. He was idol worship to the scorched level. It said he took a sword and he would plant a sword on the entrance to every single Jewish man's house. If in that home they kept Torah and mitzvot, his law was with that sword that's placed on the entrance of your door, he would kill your entire family. Big Rasha. It said one day when the Pelishtim caught him, they put him in a pot of water, and they started to heat the water. He started to pray, scream, and cry. So it said that he prayed to the sun, he prayed to the moon, he prayed to the earth, he prayed to the cow, and to the sheep, and to everything he prayed to. And after no one of his Avodah Zarah helped him, he looked to Hashem, he said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please help me. So it said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu couldn't even accept his tefillah because it was, the angels were holding it back. What did Hashem do? It says he got up and poked a hole in his chair and made a hole, mamash, opening in his chair to go and to grab the prayer of the king Menashe. So you see, Abatai, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to accept one who gets up and wants to do teshuvah. So it said right over the gate of Lavenet Safir, there's a hole. That hole is the opening for those who get up and want to do teshuvah. That the moment you turn and you get up and you put your head towards teshuvah, those prayers of teshuvah and that man that wants to enter into that place of holiness, which is the protecting of the Brit or keeping it tzniut, HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts him like this. Doesn't go through no gate, no angel, none of that. Go straight, expressed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that is something that is very big, because we mentioned in our first class, what is teshuvah for a man, or the same thing for a woman? Teshuvah for a man, in this aspect, could even be as small, as easy, as seeing something that is not supposed to be seen, or something that he's not supposed to be looking at, and turning his head. The moment he turned his head, he's already completely clean from it. Because the moment he turned his head, he's already showed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am leaving that path. So Abutai, teshuvah, it could seem like something that is very hard, but we need to try. Take small steps. And if we take small steps, we can reach Be'ezrat Hashem to big accomplishments. Amen. Kinyi Ratzon. Okay, Abutai, that was Lavenet Safir. We can lock that gate of Lavenet Safir, put it aside now, and now we're going to get into the second one, Be'ezrat Hashem. So Abutai, the second one has a similar name, not such a similar name, it sounds at least very similar, which is called Etzem Hashamayim. Now, the gate Etzem Hashamayim is unique in all its properties. And I'll explain. And what we're going to do about is even this gate, we're going to split to two pieces, half this week and half the next week. Because if I do it all, I'm afraid I'm going to lose some of the people. The concentration, I'm going to, you'll understand in a second. So Abutai, Etzem Hashamayim is different from Lavenet Safir from many different aspects. First of all, Etzem Hashamayim is not like the first gate, because Etzem Hashamayim has 3 doors to it. Now, it's not just like what you would imagine a wall, where there's 3 doors. The second gate is actually a gate which is hidden. It's not so loud, it's not so big, it's not so bold and statement as the first one. It's a small gate that one, to exit that realm, that world of Lavenet Safir and enter into a higher place, needs to go through this very, very, very quiet, low, how do you call it? Low profile?
Inconspicuous.
Low, huh?
Inconspicuous.
Incognito.
Sorry.
Low, very, very low, low profile entry. 3 gates. The first gate is actually the centered one, which is pointed towards Ma'arav, is one gate that the main gate watcher stands there. Now, like we said, every gate has one main one. Under him, he has others, but he is the main one. And to his left and to his right, there are 2 other gates, but these gates are locked. And there's a big lock on it. Now, what do you mean locked? So if it's locked, why is it there, Bichlal? So it's locked in the sense that something can enter, but nothing could exit. So, and you'll see in what instances something could enter through the locked gates by the main angel of that gate, which is actually called Or Peniel. And I'll explain why his name is Or Peniel. He can bring in something inside, but nothing can come out from the two right ones. Now, Abotai, what is actually the purpose and the essence of the second gate? It said, Abotai, that every single neshama that enters into Olam Ha'elyon, and this is where you're going to understand its purpose. Every neshama that enters the higher world passes through the first gate and arrives to the angel which is named Or Peniel. Why is he called Or Peniel? If we take the word and we break it, it comes to be what? Or Pani El. What could that mean if we try to explain it? The light of Hashem that was guided. The light of Hashem that was guided to me. And I'll explain. When a neshama goes up to a second gate, it says that Or Peniel takes a neshama and he enters the neshama through the gates that are locked. Once the neshama enters into the second gate, the neshama have a very, very unique opportunity. What's this unique opportunity? It has the opportunity from the position of those two locked gates to see Gan Eden and to see the reward and the study of the tzaddikim, the holy people, the saintly people, how do we say in English? Righteous people. Where from the position that they are, they can see what Hashem praises, how Hashem gifts those people who walked in the path of Hashem and walked in the path of the Torah. It says that those people, when they see the tzaddikim dwelling in Gan Eden, those neshamot that maybe did not repair their entire tikkun, they start to cry and to cry and to cry and to cry. And they start to look of what they were able to achieve if they were only to walk in the path of the Torah, if they were only to walk in the path of the mitzvot. And it says that the neshamot, they get through this hysteria of now they start to measure and to appreciate every single moment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave in the world. Because only at that point they see the value that either they already collected from whatever mitzvot they did, or they see the value if they were to add one more mitzvah, and another minute that Hashem gave him, or another day that Hashem gifted him, to guide it in the right place. And they have somewhat of a regret in their heart. Once they come to that point, that's actually a type of cleansing, a type of cleaning. Malach Or Peniel takes their neshama, actually exits through the main door. Now, Abotai, what's the purpose of this? The purpose is, Abotai, is actually the key to this door. Like we said, every single gate has what?
Keys.
A key. What are the keys? The Sefirot. So what key, what Sefirah attaches to Oitzem HaShamayim? Hod. Now what is Hod? If we take the word Hod, it actually comes from the word what? Hodaya. Being thankful, thinking, appreciation, seeing what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gifted somebody. That until that point where the angel Or Peniel does not take them through that gate, they have no concept or value of the gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them down in this world for every minute that Hashem gifted them. That actually the essence of the second gate is what? Is gratitude, of being thankful for everything that Hashem we have. You know, on Sunday, we did a shiur in the valley. And I said a beautiful story that I would like to repeat. Like Mamash said, the story that we can understand how much the concept of gratitude is applicable on every single aspect in our life, good and bad. It It's Rabotai about a man that at the time of the Admorim, at the time of the big tzaddikim from Ashkenaz, it was one of those people that he loved to complain. We always have that type of people that we meet that are very cynical. That's the word we say. Very cynical. Cynical? No?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, this is also Ulpan for English now. So it's actually, so those people that are very, very cynical. Where everything happens, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I did good, I didn't receive good. Why didn't I receive good when I did good? That's not fair, that's not fair, that's not fair. So this man was one of those type of people. He said, I'm going to go to the Admor. And the Admor, he sees things. He's a very high man with big ma'alot. I'm going to ask him why Hashem did this to me, why Hashem did this to me, why Hashem did this to me. I gave tzedakah, I put tefillin, I keep Shabbat. Why would Hashem bring me this pinch? Why did this deal fall? And he made an entire list, an entire book of things that he's going to ask the Rav, why did Hashem punish him? Not punish him, but after all the good that he does, give him these hardship things in his life. And he went to the Admor. When he got to the Admor, he started to wait in line, and the helper of the Admor looked at him and said, you know, you're going to see the Rav, there's a long line. Can you tell me what's the reasoning for? So he said, you know, I want you to sit down with the Rav and tell the Rav to explain to me all the reasoning why all the HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me all these pinches. So the Gabbai said, okay, that's what you came for. You traveled a long journey. I have to let you in. So he went to the radio and he sat down. While he was sitting down, he was very tired from the road, put his head down, and what happened to him? He fell asleep. And while he's sleeping, he starts to dream. This was clearly more than a dream. It was more of like a moment of like a Ruach HaKodesh, or a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Well, in this dream, he finds himself standing in a courtroom. And he's looking and he sees 3 judges, which appear to be like angels, sitting behind the table, and a big scale, but not a scale like today, the modern scales. The old scales, where you put one weight and you put the other weight, and they weigh each other. And he's looking and he's saying, what's happening here? This is actually Bet Din Shel Mala. This is the courtroom of every person after he leaves this world. And in his dream, suddenly the judges stand up and they say, today we're going to be judging this man, Ploni ben Ploni, Moshe ben David, I don't know. So he goes, wait, that's my name. They're judging me. So he understands that actually he's in the courtroom of his own judgment. So now he starts to sweat. He says, okay, Hashem Yerachem, what's going to happen to me? So the angels get up and they say, please bring all the mitzvot that Moshe ben David did throughout his life. So he said, Baruch Hashem. Maybe they're going to forget that Aharon. So they open the doors, and big fat angels start to walk in. And each angel, one says on his forehead, Shabbat. The other one says Tefillin. The other one says Kibud Orim. One says Chesed, Tzedakah. And they're going on a scale, and the scale is like this. The bad is up here, has no weight, and the good is mamash heavy. So he was happy. He said, me, I did a good job in this world, Baruch Hashem. Suddenly the angels get up, and what did they tell him? They said, okay, now bring all the Averot. And the gates open up, and it was like, like this shuk. No shuk, it says. You see, Yetziat Mitzrayim. It was like Bnei Yisrael leaving the water. And he sees, and he says, Hashem Yerachem, these angels, and they're big, and they're black, and they're ugly. So he's looking, and he said, Wa alik alai, wa Hashem Yerachem. And they start to walk one by one, boom, 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 onto the scale. And he sees the scale, slowly by slowly, starts to tip more and more and more. Then it gets to this point, Baruch Hashem. Then they bring another group. And another group, and then suddenly he sees his scale like this. The bad angels are completely overweighting the good angels. Which, of course, those angels are created by either good deeds or bad deeds. So he said, no, Hashem Yerachem. Now they're going to bring a whip and they're going to start hitting me. Like what the Moroccans would do to their kids in the previous generations. Hashem Yerachem. Okay. He started to sweat, he started to stress, and suddenly one of the judges say, wait, before we close this judgment, we have to see whether or not he has any hardships. Maybe he suffered a little bit in his life. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he had some hard doing Parasha. Maybe it was a little difficult finding his divuch. Suddenly they opened the gates, and angels, big, big white angels, which were created by hardships, which we call kaparat avonot, reparation for one's sin, starts to walk in and walk in and walk in. And now he says, Baruch Hashem, this is my Savior. And suddenly, you see the scale starts to even itself out. But still, after all the angels went on the scale of the good side, it's still tilting towards the black angels, the bad angels. So when he sees that, and he sees the last angel steps on the scale, and it's still didn't tilt, he starts to scream in Beti, more hardships, bring me more sufferings, bring me more angels created by sufferings. And when he opened his eyes, he finds that he wasn't just screaming that in his dream, he was screaming that in public. So now the helper of the Rav is looking at him, and he says, a minute ago you just came to me, and you told me that you want to see the Rav because you're suffering, you want to ask questions, and now you're saying more hardships. So the helper of the Rav says, is everything okay? So the man he woke up after a dream when he woke up screaming, more suffering, give me more suffering, give me more suffering. He said, I got all my answers. But even the pinches we receive in life is the gift of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That we must be thankful for everything that we receive in this world. That a person cannot take anything for granted. And that, Abotai, is the key to the second gate. Again, we're doing two pieces, so this is not just the only factor. But this is the key for one to open up the second gate and to reach into big beracha. Now, Abotai, we have to also understand that the angel Peniel is a very unique angel. Abotai, listen to this very closely. Very unique. Where he's not like an angel that I don't think anyone has ever heard of. He's an angel that at some points doesn't exist. So the same thing like we said about Zivug, how do we call it? Zivugless. So this gate is angelless. Nothing. Where there are times where this Peniel disappears. Why? Because he is an angel that on his own doesn't have a physical light, a physical form that constructs his body. It is an angel that is relied on what? Relied from an exterior light to shine upon it. And only when an exterior light shines upon him, what happens? He comes to an existence. So it's like the moon. And that's what the example that it gives. The moon has no light from its own strength. It is invisible to our eyes on its own. The moment we start to shine light from the sun onto the moon, what happens to it? Suddenly, even the moon starts to shine light back on us. So that is exactly the concept of Malach Peniel. That is an angel that is relying on exterior light to be shined in order for him to exist. Meaning, that the moment that exterior light is no longer shining on him, the second gate is locked and there's no one to open the door. There's no way to get our prayers, no way to get our will, there's no way to get anything through this second gate. Because what happens to that gate? It says the lights dim. It's mamash. The words of all this, by the way, is brought in the Zohar and Kabbalah, Parasha Pikudei. Just as a makor, a place where you can find it. It's in the Zohar and Parasha Pikudei. It doesn't speak to this detail. Whoever would like to find it to this detail can look in Arizal or in the books of Aramak. In the Parasha Monim, Perek Kavdalet Ot Aleph. This is a summary. So, what happens? The light shines off, the angel disappears, and that gate becomes black. So you try to put this image in your head where you have a big door, and the light that shines on top of it is dark, and there's no way to get it open. So what is actually the factor, what is the cause for his ignite? Or what is the cause for him to exist, period? Because he doesn't exist as long as there's no light being shined on him. And what is this light? And how can we light this light as well on our own? So the answer, Abotai, is what? What is it, Abotai? Gratitude. When a person is content. That when a person is happy, when a person has gratitude for all what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him, and has gratitude for the world that is around him, that person shines a light onto that angel that gives them an opportunity to exist. That when a person is at a moment where he is not grateful for what he has at any given moment, in that moment, that angel is closed. His light is off. He disappears. That his existence relies on the fact that we have gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the reason, Rabotai, that gratitude is so strong, it's because we're essentially showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, all the effort you're doing, I'm appreciating it and I'm being thankful for it. And I'm putting all my faith that, look, what you gave me is amazing. There's a story about that, I think one of my favorite stories. Maybe my favorite story, with the Baal Shem Tov. Really, Rabbi, this is a story that teaches us what just being thankful can do up there in Shammai. It said one time that the students of Baal Shem Tov came to him and they told him, Rav, tell us who is the man that gives you the most happiness in the entire world. So Baal Shem Tov looked at him and he said, if I tell you, it's not going to be nice, because if I tell you, you're going to go and laugh at him. So the student said, Rav, Chas Shalom, why would we laugh at somebody that's giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much happiness? So Rabbi Pinto said, you promise me that if I show you this man and I tell you who he is, you're not going to laugh at him? He said, Rav, opposite. I want to study, I want to follow this man's footsteps in order to maybe recreate that joy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu receives from him. So Rabbi Pinto said, you know what, okay. But you only to promise that you don't laugh. I said, okay. So he told all the students, Friday night, we're going to go see this man. So be ready. Tell your wives you're going to be coming a little bit late after the prayer. I said, okay. Friday night arrives. The Chassidim, we know the Chassidim dress. In a very royal outfit with the fox head, steimel, and the long suits. And I'm sure at the time of Baal Shem Tov, it was mamash. You see the Kiddushim was probably coming out, especially the students of Baal Shem Tov. Imagine they were the Rabbanim at the time of Rabbi Nachman Ibreslev. So, just as a small comparison. So they all get dressed, they all get ready to go to Bet Knesset, to the shul. And they arrive to the shul, and they all dress beautifully, and they all sit in their seats, and they wait to start the prayer of Shabbat. Suddenly, while everyone's waiting, the door opens up, and they see a man, no streimel, barely a dirty miskin shirt, that is ripped and black, and an old one. It's not a man that has a lot of money. And it even said that his shoes were ripped in the snow. And he looked mamash like a person that was in great need of help. And Bashir does this to his student. He said, look, it's him. So the student said, what? We all prepare ourselves a week before. We prepare ourselves a week before Shabbat, meaning the entire week. We're preparing ourselves for Shabbat, and him, he looks like he came from the coal, and it says actually he was a coal worker. A coal man. A coal miner. He comes from the coal and he makes Hashem most happy. Hashem said, we made a deal. Shh. So they start to pray and they see this man praying and screaming and he barely has a voice because he's coughing from the smoke. But still he's praying Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala with such love. So they said, maybe it's because his prayer is a very strong prayer. Hashem accepts his prayer and Hashem loves him. Tefillah finishes, Hashem grabs the students. He said, we have to follow him now. But we can't let him see that we're behind him. So I imagine about this thought. Baal Shem Tov, with maybe 20 or 30 students hiding behind the bushes, going from one bush to the other, just trying to make sure that he doesn't see. And like they follow him to his home, and they see a small house, barely a room. That it's a house that's completely broken, the fire pit is leaning outwards, and there's missing pieces. And there's no windows, they met in the snow, and it's cold, terrible. And they see from the entrance of the house, this old-looking cottage, they see his wife, which Miskena looks the same thing like him. Poor woman, the same thing like him. Old clothing, dirty, very skinny. And they see that she's standing by his door, and she's smiling with such happiness to see her husband. He arrives home, he hugs her, the kids come, they hug each other, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. They're kissing each other, and they're making a big happiness. Hashem says, now we have to go look from the window to see how he makes Hashem more happy than any man in the world. So now the student said, it's this. So he stands from the window, They see him holding his hands of the kid. He's singing, he's praying beautiful Kabbalah Shabbat like a king. Even though he didn't look like a king, he was brought Shabbat like a king. And suddenly he sits down, didn't have wine to do Kiddush. So what does the halakha say? When you don't have wine to Kiddush, you take, what do? You take bread, and you do Kiddush on the bread. So you take whatever bread you have, and you make Kaddish Shabbat on the bread. So they say he takes 2 pieces of dry bread, does the Kiddush, and breaks it apart, giving each one, and they're eating the bread, and they're smiling, and they're happy, and they're singing. Okay. He says, my wife, please bring the salad of Shabbat. Oh, Lord. Please bring the salad of Shabbat. So she goes to the kitchen, and the students are looking. She's bringing out a platter like this. And in this platter, there are 20 or 30 different small bowls. And they're looking, and they see that in all the bowls, what's inside? What's inside? Adashim. What's Adashim? What we read in this week's Parasha. Adashim. Lentils. And they see that from the kitchen, she's taking 1 bowl of lentils, and she's pouring into 20 different bowls. And she takes a platter of lentils, of 20 small portions of lentils, and she spreads them all on the table. She said, my husband, this is hummus, this is mitbocha, this is the eggplant salad. And they're looking and they're saying, they lost their mind, this family. They're serving the same lentils, and they're naming it different names. And he comes, he takes a spoon, he takes 1 spoon from here, 1 spoon from there, and like that, to try from every single bowl. And every bite he takes, he's saying, wow, my wife, when I mix the mitbucha and the hummus, the taste that comes out of it, it's something amazing. And the students are looking and they're saying, what is happening here? They finish the salad. He says, my wife, please bring me the fish of Shabbat. So she gets up. She says, wow, b'simcha, I waited for the fish the whole week. She goes to the kitchen. She takes a flat platter, takes a bowl of lentils, pours the lentils, and brings it to the table and says, my husband, this is the fish of Shabbat. So he takes the lentils, he's cutting it now like fish, and he's pouring it in his plate. He's saying, wow, my wife, this is the best fish we made in our life. Repeat this recipe every week. So she says, wow, you like it? Beautiful. They're enjoying themselves. Okay. They finish the fish. Now at this point, the Chassidim are saying this is a catastrophe. They finish the fish. He says, my wife, please bring now the main course of Shabbat. I'm saying, what are they going to bring now? So they go to the kitchen. What does she do? She takes the bowl, and she takes lentils, and she pours in this shape of platter, and this shape of platter, and one represents the meat, and one represents the rice, one represents this and that. And she brings it to the table, and the kids are already saying, wow, I ate, the fish was so good, I can't eat now the meat. So I'm going to maybe eat light. So he eats from the vegetables, not from the rice. It's all lentils. And the entire Shabbat, the students are saying, this family lost their mind. They're sitting down, and they're singing, and they're eating, and they're pouring from every single same platter of lentils, and they're calling it different names. Rabbi Pinto said, that man gives HaKadosh Baruch Hu more pleasure than any man in the world. Why? Because he shows HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, whatever you gave me, if it's a little bit or if it's a lot, I take it with such appreciation. And that, Rabotai, is a light that emanates from a person that there is no way to even describe the light that comes off a person that is in that place in his heart and in his mind. Where he's complete with where he is, he's complete at the position that he is, he's complete with himself, he's complete with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him, he's happy with it. And that is the light, Rabotai, that actually shines light and shines life into the angel. That's why we call it Or Peni El. That actually it's the light that shines upon him. You know, Rabotai, if you ask me, in today's generation, the biggest problem that exists is not Parasha, it's not lack of Torah, it's not lack of even Zivug, it's not lack of all the problems that we had in the previous generations where our ancestors were chased and even killed because they were studying Torah, or because there was no food, or because there was a lack of whatever happened in any generation. In today's generation, it doesn't exist. Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed us with countries where we have freedom to do as we feel, to do as we wish. Food, there is abundance. Health, there is abundance. There is medicines. We have everything perfect. The biggest challenge this generation faces is what? Is the lack of happiness. Where Rabotai, 9 out of 10 people that I sit down with, they come and they say, I am unhappy. I don't feel complete with where I am. Even though I have what I have, that's just not what's keeping me whole. I wake up in the morning and I don't feel a reason to wake up in the morning. And really we have everything and more than everything to keep us in a position that we will be not happy, more than happy. But still, this generation's biggest challenge is just to keep their own selves happy. With the biggest wealth to whatever situation a person is in, it's the biggest challenge. But if we look one generation before, I lived with my grandmother for 5 years. The Rabbanit, Zichronah Levacha. Always, on Friday, she would tell me the stories about her and my grandfather, Rabbi Moshe Pinto, the way they grew up and the way they started. She said, every Friday I would go to the market, and wherever they would, the fishermen, there was no market, there was the Namal, the port. There were fishermen that would fish sardines. The sardine was always full out of the nets. And when you would pull out, and there's so much, they were always on the floor around, and the cats would eat. She would go and she would pick up those sardines. And from that, she would make Shabbat. But the way she would tell me how those sardines were, wow! What a happiness! She would make me. I remember I would sit down for hours because she was my only family member there. She would tell me, I wished I was there eating the sardines with her, Bemet. Because what a happiness! What their completeness. The way that they were complete with themselves was something that this generation does not have. So what is the cause? Lack? There's no lack. So what is the cause of always us running after this happiness that we're never able to find? And the answer, Abotai, is very simple, and I want everyone to grasp onto this and to hold this every single day of our lives, because it's something that even me, myself, I think of all the time. Abotai, in our life, we all have places where we want to be. We all have goals, or what we call it, result. We all have a place we look to the result of our time, the result of our hard work. We want to be in a certain place. The mistake Abotai this generation does is that they build on the result. And the reality is that nobody can control the result. They want a very high result because they see somebody else on their computer has something that they think that that's what's going to put them in that position. So they try to reach a certain result. But Abotai, no matter how rich you are, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how beautiful you are, the result is not in our hands, the result is not in our power. But there is one thing that we could control. And that is the moment and the effort put into achieving one's result. I can't control what's going to end up happening, but I can control what's going to happen now. And that's Abotai, what the previous generations had. That they knew how to make the effort, the building, the working, they knew how to make that the pure happiness. That they found a way to enjoy not just chasing a goal, but living right now. Where at that moment, those sardines that they collected, those sardines my grandmother collected, were the best sardines that existed in the world. Because they were not looking about eventually reaching to a point where I own a building, and then eventually I'm going to sell that building and buy 2 other buildings, then eventually I'm going to do this, and eventually, and when that happens, and when that happens, and when that happens, and we put so much on this result that we end up losing the present, and the present actually becomes the past. So that's how a person can burn 30 years of his life in a blink of a second, because present is the past. The moment you say the word present, that word already became past. So when you waste your present on hoping for a future, you end up unhappy. Because you end up looking forward to something that you may not achieve. And that is something that we all really need to work on. We need to make always our work, our effort, what keeps us happy, what keeps us satisfied. If we are able to get to that point and reach that level, we will live life full of happiness. You know, there's an expression someone told me today, that always when you walk, you should leave trails, that the footsteps that you put in the past would be happy trails. Trails that you can look back and say, you know what? I am so satisfied with what I did yesterday, and I'm happy with what I did yesterday, and I'm happy with what I'm doing now. And what's going to happen in the future, that doesn't matter. I'm controlling now. And if we can reach that point, Abotai, we will take away the biggest problem that this is in today's generation, where we have everything, but we feel like we have nothing. Because whatever we have in the moment, we destroy its value. That's why, Rabotai, see so many people that when they get older, they look back and they say, look, when I was young, I was this, I was this, I was this. Look how beautiful I was, look how I would run, look how strong I was. I had Parasha at that time. The question is, did you think the same way when you were in that position? Or did you completely block away and completely ignore the present and take the present and put it in the trash and live trying to build the future? That we only really understand the value of the moment that we're living in right now, you know when? When it's already gone. So the trick, Rabotai, to gratitude, to happiness, is very simple. It's accomplishing, it's succeeding in the moment. Where every single effort, where every place, any position that a person is in, he is satisfied, he is happy, he is complete with that position that he's in. And that, Rabotai, is actually, I think, a very important lesson that we all need to really take to ourselves and put into a reality, Rabotai. Something that we all deal with, something that we all suffer with. And that's, Rabotai, the answer to a lot of problems that we find in our lives. So, Rabotai, live the moment. Make today the best day possible. Tomorrow, have faith. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of everything tomorrow. You don't have to run after tomorrow when tomorrow is not even here yet. Fix today. Appreciate what you have in the moment. You know, when you really appreciate what you have in the moment. And even me, it took a long time to get this wake up. When we bring every year the group from Leoshit Yad, Aharon, every year there's a group called Leoshit Yad. They bring a group of 20 to 40 kids with Miskanim, the disease. And what's sad is, unfortunately, as the people that we organize some of the events, the organizers tell us who's in critical condition, who's not in critical condition, who they think will live and who will not, who they don't think has a chance. So you're looking at these kids, and you're seeing the joy they have in their eyes. You see the happiness that they're living in the moment. But still, as much as they have nothing, but on the other side, they have everything. So you have a place in your heart where you, first of all, completely appreciate every bit you have in your life. Because when someone comes to you and tells you, see that person there? He doesn't have a future that we're so worried about. And you look at him and you say, wow, I'm not in that place of him. You start to appreciate what you have in that moment. But you can also learn from them a lot. That even though they have nothing, come to their events. Come to the events we do. You'll see they have more than anyone. That the happiness and the way that they are, and the way that the feeling that you get, you're just spending a little bit of time with them, something that Be'emunah, I don't think I know anyone with it. Abotai, make today the best day possible, in order for that whatever happens tomorrow, it doesn't matter. You're going to be happy, and you're going to be satisfied, and you're going to keep for many years what you did yesterday. And that, Abotai, is the key to our success. You know, Abotai, before I finish, I'm going to finish tomorrow. Next week, Abotai, Be'emunah, the class of this gate, I didn't even touch it. I didn't even touch the gate. I wanted to give a nice opening. And next week we're going to B'at Hashem get into it and really understand the technicality and how, like what I told somebody in Mincha. On one side, this teaching of Kabbalah is so far, but when you hear it, your head starts to spin. But as far as it is, it's also something that's been sitting in your head your entire life. And sometimes things that can seem far, things that are not even a lifetime away. You study about these things, you think that they're impossible, that you'll ever be in that position. And you'll see that the keys to all these tricks of how one can come to happiness, one can come to gratitude, were tricks and keys that we were holding in our mind and holding in our heart our entire lives. And that's why, Rabbi, I think this second gate will be maybe our most important one. So I encourage you, B'at Hashem, to attend them, because next week, and also come with an open imagination next week, because next week it's going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to do Extra L'chaim before, like that, where we're not very squared the way we think, and once we're not very squared, we'll move freely. Abotai, before I finish, I want to give a big segula for the singles. The singles, Behemet, in here in Los Angeles, they have a hard time, and I see it. So I want to give a big segula for all the singles, Be'ezrat Hashem, to find their zivug. So we said, Abotai, and this is actually from this teaching, so I think it's applicable. We said, Abotai, that bringing one's halves together is repairing one's own neshama. But there's another trick. And we're all about Jews, we're all about finding the shortcut, the loophole of really bringing a blessing into our lives. We know Abotai said something and mentioned in the Zohar many times. Maybe I touched it, maybe I didn't. It doesn't matter. We're going to give a short introduction. And that is the concept, the power, the strength of one who studies and does tefillah at night. So there is this concept in this tefillah we call tikkun chatzot. What is tikkun chatzot? It's a specific tefillah, you can call it, that we do at the time when midnight, where its big blessing could be brought upon a person. Now this Abotai is not just closed on tikkun chatzot, but actually open to prayer, to limud Torah, study of Torah, could be anything. Now, for the women, say, what about Tehillim? Some people say we can't read Tehillim at night. That maybe yes, that existed in the past. Today we don't go by that. Today, any perek of Tehillim, any reading, every psalm we can repeat is more merit for Am Yisrael of preparing the Geulah. So there's no timing of nighttime, I can't study this, or daytime, I can't read this, or no. We read anything at any time, we're above time. Torah in this generation is above time. So even women, Tehillim, it is fine, we can read. Now, what is this concept of Tikkun Chatzot? Of study at night. So, in the daytime, what completely consumes the air of the world? Light. Kedusha, ken. Light, Kedusha. Presence of purity. Where you see nothing is hidden. Everything is in front of you. You can go, you can pray Shacharit, you can pray Mincha, you can study Torah, you can do mitzvot. The world is in your hands, so just get up and grab it. Nachon? Daytime represents what? Purity. Good. Where all the gates are open, everything is clear. The store is open for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to pray, to do anything. Nighttime, what happens? The exact opposite flips. Because like we mentioned, everything needs a balance in this world. So if the daytime, the Kedusha controls, the nighttime, the Tum'ah, impurity, takes control. And that's why we do Varuch HaMichaper Avon. We don't do Tachanun at night for that reason. We say Varuch Hashem is kind and He will forgive all our sins. We do Shema Yisrael Shalamita. Why do we do Shema Yisrael? For protection. We did a class about Shema Yisrael in the past. So really, nighttime is the time when we need to protect ourselves, Chas v'Shalom, from what controls at night, which is the impurity. Seder? Now, at daytime, all the 7 gates are open. At nighttime, The gate watchers actually come out of the gate. Throughout the day they stand inside, and in the night they go out. They actually keep the gates locked, because even the impurity is wicked enough to try entering to those gates. Nighttime, which we are surrounded with darkness, where you can compare that to impurity. When a person sits down and he does limud Torah, or he prays, makes a prayer, reads whatever it is, reads Zohar, whatever it is, it said that he creates a chut shel chesed. He creates a little pipe of kindness, a little pipe of light throughout the darkness. Why? Because everything is dark, but suddenly this man that's sitting right here is studying or praying, and that tefillah is going up, and it's creating mamash, a string of light. Now it said in the Zohar Kadosh that kedusha that goes through and breaks impurity becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. The more kedusha destroys impurity, the stronger it becomes. And the best analogy we can give is the man. The man, what is the man of Michael? The man. Lechem, but where did it come from? From the sky. It would fall when? When? At nighttime. Nighttime before morning. So the question is, why did it fall at night? Why not in the day? When they say we're praying in the day, why does it have to fall at night? So some could say, because the Mefashim explain that if it was to fall in the day, the sun would dry it. If it was to fall in the daytime, the sun would dry up the bread. So bread falling from the sky, nobody asks how that's technically possible. But the sun drying it, no, the sun will dry it. So that's not a reason. The sun's not the cause of it falling at nighttime. The Zohar Kadosh says the cause of it falling at nighttime was because all Bnei Israel had no food for tomorrow. They knew that the man was only given day by day. So the entire nights they were sitting in their homes. What were they doing? They were praying. They were learning, saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you don't feed us tomorrow, there's no life. So throughout the whole night, they were praying and learning and praying and learning. Creating what? Those pipes of light. The Zohar says, through those openings of light, Hashem would drop the man. Hashem would drop the food. So actually, holiness that goes through impurity goes up with a speed. You know what it's like about that? It's like you take air and you put it in the bottom of water. The lower you put the air, what happens to it? What happens to it? It goes up, but goes up what? With increased speed. It starts to go faster and faster. And the more air you put, with the deeper the water, the more the speed goes, and it starts to catch more speed, until when it goes up, it becomes like an explosion. The same thing happens to us when we learn Torah, when we pray at night. It says that our limud Torah, our prayer, goes up, but the problem is, the problem is that the gates are locked. When the limud Torah and the prayer comes in, it's coming in at a speed because it's simply breaking the kilipot. How do you call the kilipot? The peels, the shells of the impurity. So when it comes up, listen to this. It says it smashes onto the gate. What happens when you take a metal and you hit a metal? What do you create?
Noise.
Not just noise. You create a spark. Create fire. That fire is not any regular fire. What's created from that, the same way we create a good deed, we create an angel. From prayer or tefillah at night, we create an angel as well. But this angel is different. This angel has a type of name. And we're not even mentioning the name, but it's spelled Bet Zayin Kuf. Okay? Bet Zayin Kuf. The Zohar says this angel is a very big angel. It even gives an analogy on what it looks like. And I'm afraid if I say it, I'm going to get people a little bit... but the Zohar is just trying to give us something that we can compare it to, like... It has the face like a face of a lion. And this angel grabs the limud Torah and the prayers that we've been doing all night, and he holds on to it, and he waits for the sunrise. The moment the sunrise comes, the gate opens, he goes straight up to Hashem, and it says that he takes a book which is called Sefer HaZichronot, the book of memories. And him, the angel himself, takes the prayer and he marks them in the book of memories as prayer or merit that went through an entire journey, went up, smashed on the gates, created him. That book of memories is the cause of the awakening of the 4 angels, the 4 angels that control Zivug. Where there are 4 angels, like we said, Sa'adiel, Satariel, those are the 2 angels that actually marry people together. And there's 2 other angels that their job is actually to split neshamot. When a couple divorces, which their name is Badatiel and Tom Kiel, where the 2 angels actually split a couple that was one neshama that got divorced. So what is the cause of that, Abatai? It's actually how a person, single, can forcefully awake these 2 first angels that bring zivug to a person. And that, Abatai, is something that is very, very big, and something that is very, very, very good to know. It's a shortcut, it's a loophole that we can all reach. So, Abatai, in the merit of all the limud Torah we just did, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'ezrat Hashem give all of us big beracha and hatzlacha, v'siyata deshmaya gdola, and in the merit B'ezrat Hashem of all the limud Torah and of all the things that we're going to take home with us today, bless us with all the happiness in the world, and we all B'ezrat Hashem come to a point of we will be complete with where we are in the moment. Now, Abatai.